We are continuing in Al-Mu'taqad As-Saghir, the Junior Creedal Manual, or the Junior Manual of Doctrine by Imam Ibn Khafeef. It's the junior manual because he has a bigger one, the senior one. So this is his small one. And last time we talked about the names and the attributes. I want to do a quick recap with you here and then keep moving. So he said, may Allah have mercy upon him. وَالْأَسْمَاءُ وَالصِّفَاتُ مَأْخُوذَةٌ مِنَ السَّمْعِ. The names and attributes are taken by hearing. The hearing. Yani, maybe we should put that definite article there. The hearing. It means religious transmission. Religious transmission of the revelation. Revelation meaning the Quran or the authentic hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. We don't take the names and the attributes from the statements of the companions or the tabi'un. So you know what that means. We mean if the companion is narrating the name of Allah or the attribute of Allah from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then that's acceptable. And at one point last time I said we don't take it. I said if a companion or a tabi'i said a name of Allah or an attribute of Allah, not transmitting it from the Prophet, but it's his own statement. At one instance in the last lesson, I said we don't take it. And what I really prefer to say here is it's not evidence. It's not evidence. And I did say also in other spots in the same lesson, it's not evidence. But at one point I said we don't take it. That statement, we don't take it, I retract that. I just don't want to say it that way. What I want to say is it's not a religious evidence. So the names of Allah and the attributes of Allah are from the Quran and the authentic Sunnah. And we talked about the level that the hadith has to be to even be evidence in the aqidah. The least of that, meaning amongst the sayings of the scholars, the least of that is that it has to be a hadith that the scholars have no dispute about any of its narrators. It has to be a hadith, an authentic hadith with a clean chain of narration by consensus. No one disputes with any of its narrators. And the Hanafi said it needs to be authentic hadith, and on top of that, mashhur, technically mashhur, famous, narrated by at least 3 reporters at every level. One scholar said it has to be mutawatir, successive mass report. This saying we don't take it. We give it no regard, zero regard. And I mentioned for you that, yani, what did he say here? Imma ma wasafa Allahu bihi nafsah, either what Allah described himself with, aw wasafahu bihi rasuluh, or his messenger described him with it, aw ajma' al-muslimuna ala sifatih, or the Muslims have a consensus that it is his attribute. And be mindful here also. We are just talking about the wording, not the interpretation. The wording. If there came a wording, a phrasing, a naming of Allah or his attribute in the Quran or the Sunnah, then we confirm that word. What is the interpretation of that word? That's another thing. This is what would a Wahhabi say to you? He'll say, what? Didn't Allah say Istiwaa? We're going to say yes. He's going to say, then who are you to deny that he rose over the throne? We're going to say, well, who told you it means he rose over the throne? Then you might say, the Sahaba didn't ask about it. And the Tabi'un didn't ask about it. So who are you to ask about it? So we're going to say to them, for example, who told you they understood what you understand, so that they understand what you understand and therefore didn't ask about it? Why you don't think they understood what I understand and that's why they don't ask about it? Yani, it's not straight thinking here. What are we talking about right now? We're talking about the wording, not the interpretation of the words. Any name of Allah or attribute of Allah that came in the Quran or the Sunnah, the authentic Sunnah, it is a name or attribute of Allah. Or if the Muslims have a consensus that it is his attribute, the example I gave you last time was his name Al-Qadim, that means the eternal one, the one whose existence preceded the existence of others. Okay, and we mentioned that some of the people of the prophetic way said, يعني, first, what did the author say? لا تؤخذ أسماؤه تلقيبا ولا قياسا. His names are not taken by nicknaming or derivation. That's how it's translated here. I mentioned for you the word laqab, so you can review the previous lesson. That's this translation of nickname here. Wala qiyasa, nor derivation. And the meaning is that names are not extracted for Allah according to this saying. This saying here is the prominent saying. This is the saying of the majority of the scholars, and it is the saying of Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari himself, and it is the saying of Abu Mansur al-Baghdadi. So according to this, you do not derive names for Allah. Rather, his names are what came in the revelation, and his attributes are what came in the revelation. Some said, though, it is possible to derive names for Allah under conditions. So according to them, you can derive a name for Allah if it is not a common noun. It cannot be a common noun. A common noun is like stone, man, tree, like this. Cloud, those are common nouns. It cannot be one of those, like, for example, ruh. The word ruh, that means soul. That's a common noun. So you cannot name Allah ruh, soul, or spirit. And it cannot be derived from a common noun, so you cannot call Allah ruhani. This would mean something to the effect of spiritual, because this didn't come as one of his names, and you cannot make a name for him from a common noun, nor derive a name for him from a common noun. They say, those who say you can possibly derive a name for Allah, and that's the saying of Al-Ghazali. They said it has to be a sifa, an adjective, and it has to be not bearing any misleading meaning, any meaning that could possibly denote imperfection. So then, according to them, you can call Allah, their example is At-Tahir. At-Tahir means the pure one. Although this name did not come in the Quran or in the authentic hadith for the Prophet, for Allah Ta'ala. And also, we mentioned, when we talk about something being Allah's name, we mean that you can call him by it. You may invoke him by it. That means put the calling particle in front of it and then call him by it. So you say, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, etc. Also, what I did not mention for you last time is that amongst the scholars are those who permitted the names of Allah in other languages. That's for some people. They like my lessons, but they don't like when I say the word God. They told me just say Allah. And I told them I like to say the word God. And I like to say the word Lord also. And amongst those scholars was Abu Hanifa. He said in Al-Fiqh al-Akbar that it is valid, it's permissible to call Allah Khuda. That's Persian for God. So according to that, in English, you would say, yani, as names that are called upon, you would say, oh God, using the calling particle O. Oh Lord. Also, Besides Allah's names, Allah has descriptions. I'm going to use the word description. So in our lessons, I'm going to differentiate between, in this context here, this context of names and attributes. Pay attention, please, to the context and then understand how I'm going to use these words. In the context of names and attributes, then sometimes I'm going to use the word description. And other times I'm going to use the word attribute. So when I say attribute, I mean like the attributes that as we learned them. Knowledge, power, will, sight, hearing, speech, oneness, dissimilarity, independence. The attributes of Allah, like we got accustomed to. That's how I'm going to use the word attribute. And when I say description, in this context of names and attributes, I mean names, but not names that are used for calling upon Allah. Meaning, not monikers, not moniker. Moniker is your name, your given name. Allah has names. And Allah has descriptions. Description here means descriptive name, but not a moniker. So this means do not call him by these descriptions. Rather, you can use these descriptions to describe him and to refer to his attributes without calling him by these descriptions, such as mawjood, existent, and mutakallim, speaker. Allah is mutakallim, he is a speaker. But you don't say, Ya mutakallim. It's not one of his names. It didn't come in the Quran or the Sunnah as a name of his. Rather, it's a description of his. And for example, murid, this means willer or willing one who is willing, one who wills. It's not a verb and it's not an attribute. The attribute is will. It's a name, but not a moniker, meaning it's an adjective, a willer or one who wills. Murid. And he has other words like this that's permissible for us to use. You can review prior lessons, inshallah, for more. And last thing here, it is not permissible to call Allah or name Allah by a word that has the same meaning as one of his names. And I'm talking in Arabic here. I'm talking about in Arabic. Arabic. I'm not talking about translating. So in Arabic, Allah, one of his names is Al-Qadir, the powerful one. And there's a word in Arabic that means Al-Qadir. That word is Al-Mustati'. More literally, it would be translated as, or standardly would be translated as the able one. What does it mean, the able one? It means the one who has power. Al-Mustati'. Is it valid? Is it permissible to call Allah Al-Mustati'? It's not, because it didn't come in the Quran or in the statements of the Prophet ﷺ, the hadiths. So then we'll just limit ourselves to the names that came in the Quran and the Sunnah. We will say Allah, and we'll say Al-Qadir, we'll say other names that came instead of Al-Mustati' or Al-Arif or something like that that didn't come. Any question here? Okay. So let's continue from where we left off. The author said, may Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala have mercy upon him. وَكَلَامُ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى مِنْهُ وَإِلَيْهِ. And the speech of Allah, exalted is He, is, and here's a very literal translation, from Him and to Him. The speech of Allah is from Him and to Him. So that's cryptic, with the meaning that What does he mean by this? So, uh, the way to explain this statement of the author, Ibn Khafeef, depends on how you interpret the word kalamullah. Because as you know very well by now, inshallah, unless you're new, this word, the speech of Allah, this expression here, the speech of Allah, kalamullah, it has two meanings. Sometimes you say the speech of Allah, and you mean his attribute by which he speaks. And his speech is not letters or sounds or languages. It has no beginning and no end. He doesn't start speaking and he doesn't stop speaking. It's a confirmed attribute of his that is unlike the attributes of the creations. By his speech, he speaks. By his speech, he is a speaker. So that's one meaning of the expression, the speech of Allah. And if you say the word, the speech of Allah, it has another meaning too, another usage, which is the revealed books or the heavenly books, the books that Allah revealed to the prophets. You may refer to them as the speech of God, Kalamullah. Why? Because those books are not authored by any creation. They are not authored by the prophets who had them. That's what we say. The Muslims say all the books of the prophets, they received them. The angel delivered those books to them. They did not author any of them. The Christians say that the books of the prophets are authored by those prophets. This is a massive blunder. As for the Jews, I don't know that they say that the Torah, Moses authored the Torah. I don't know that they say that. The way I understand it, they should perceive that Moses received those tablets, unless they believe that he went away and he wrote them. Unless they believe that Moses went away and then he engraved those tablets and then he came back with them. So I don't know. But the case is that Moses went away by the command of his Lord and he received those tablets. They were given to him. He didn't author them. And then he came back with them to the children of Israel. So these revealed books are called the speech of Allah, the Quran, the Injil of Jesus, the Torah of Moses, the Zabur of David. All of them are called the speech of Allah, even though they were revealed in different languages. The Quran revealed in Arabic, the Injil revealed in Aramaic or Syriac, the Torah and the Zabur, Psalms, revealed in Hebrew. All of these are created languages that refer to the uncreated speech of Allah. I had to take time now to say all of that to explain these words here. What did the author say? He said, وَكَلَامُ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى مِنْهُ وَإِلَيْهِ. The speech of Allah, exalted is He, is from Him and to Him. So you see we have quotation marks here, from Him and to Him, as a signal to that that's literal translation here. And what does it mean? So if the word speech of Allah in this excerpt here refers to the attribute, the eternal everlasting attribute of God, then to say his speech is minhu, from him, means he makes whomever he wills hear it. Whomever he wills to hear his speech shall hear it. Who heard the speech of God? Moses did, and angel Gabriel did, and Prophet Muhammad did, and some say Adam did. Yani, it is said, meaning that's not as firmly verified as that Moses heard the speech of Allah, and Muhammad heard the speech of Allah, and Gabriel, the angel, hears the speech of Allah. Those are confirmed 100% for sure. It is said that Adam also heard the speech of Allah. It's reported in some hadiths. So that's what the meaning of minhu wa kalamullahi ta'ala minhu, the speech of God is from him. If speech of God here means the attribute of God, then being from him means he makes hear it whomever he wills. Wa ilayhi, and to him, the speech of Allah is to him. If speech of Allah here means the attribute of Allah, then being to him means that commanding and forbidding are his right. He is entitled to command and forbid by his eternal speech. With an eternal speech that does not change, he commands and he forbids. He commands that you do the obligations, that you perform the prayer as he commanded, not like you want to, not the way you feel like, or if you want to or you don't want to. He commands you to pray as he commanded for you to pray. And he forbids you from whatever he forbids you from, whether you want to do it or you don't want to do it. That's what the human being needs to understand very well. The human being, he should say to himself, there's things I want to do and things I don't want to do. Is it verified that God forbids me from things that I want to do and commands me to do things I don't want to do? If that's verified, then I have to do it. That's how a person should be. And then he should search to make sure that that's right. Since it's not a matter of what he wants to do and doesn't want to do. That's why, what's the name of the religion? Islam, submission. The name of the religion is not ikhtiyar, choice. Yeah, and the religion's name is not ithar, preference. The the name of the religion is Islam, submission. The meaning is choosing to submit, choosing to submit. That's the test for the human. Otherwise, though, as you know, in the afterlife, the person will know. He will believe. He will see the angels. He will see hell. He will see paradise. Then he will see. He will believe because he can see it. That's then in the afterlife. The test for the human is to believe now while he can get the proof. To choose to believe based on the proof. Then in the afterlife, if he only believed because he sees it, that's not going to be accepted from him. So his speech being to him means he has the right to command and forbid. And he questions his slaves on resurrection day. Now, if this word kalamullah, the speech of Allah, refers to the revealed expressions, then minhu wa ilayhi, from him and to him, means yani being from him means that he revealed it. He sent the revealed book down. He revealed it. And being to him means, in reference to the Quran, that he shall raise it by the end of the world. Before the end of the world, the Quran will be raised. It will be taken from the hearts of the men and it will be raised, and there won't be any copies of the Quran on the earth shortly before the end of the world, before the angel blows the horn. If you didn't know. When the wind or the breeze comes to take the souls of the believers away, and we believe that 100 years before doomsday, I mean by it here when the angel blows the horn the first time, which results in heavens and earth shattering into pieces. 100 years before doomsday, Allah will send a breeze that takes the souls of the Muslims away. Their souls will be taken from under their armpits. The breeze goes under their armpits and their souls will come out. They will die and the Quran will be raised. Yani, no one will know Quran after that. And there will only be kuffar on the earth, and they will live savagely like animals. They will not know what prayer is, and they will not know what charity is. Imagine, even now, as ignorant as those people are, they know what prayer means, they know what charity means. Imagine kuffar, they don't even know what prayer means, they don't know what charity means. It's very ignorant. And how would they be living? They're going to be living like animals. Yeah, and I think that's worse than anything that they put in those movies. Those, what do they call those? Post-apocalyptic movies. It's supposed to be like Mad Max, wasteland everywhere. People look like punk rockers fighting over oil in the desert. I think it's going to be way, way worse than that. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. So that's the statement of the author there. وَكَلَامُ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى مِنْهُ وَإِلَيْهِ. And the speech of Allah, exalted is He, is from Him and to Him. مَسْمُوعٌ وَمَكْتُوبٌ وَمَحْفُوظٌ وَمَتْلُوٌ وَمَدْرُوسٌ. مسموع ومكتوب ومحفوظ ومتلو ومدروس. Heard, written, memorized, recited, and studied. The speech of Allah Ta'ala. This is what Ibn Khafeef says. What does it mean that the speech of Allah is heard? So, if it refers to the attribute of Allah being heard, then Allah can enable us to hear His speech by removing what prevents us from hearing it. He can enable us to hear the uncreated speech and to understand it. And then each one will understand whatever Allah willed. He will create in each individual understanding whatever He willed for him to understand. On Judgment Day, when Allah questions every single one, every human, every single one, and every genie, they are all questioned at the same time in a very small span of time. Very small. Like, for example, a moment or some small span of time. He will question all of them, and each one will understand something different. And they all hear the same speech. So the speech of Allah, which is His attribute, it is heard. It can be heard. He hears His own speech, and He will enable His creations to hear His speech on Resurrection Day. And He has slaves of His who have in this life heard His speech. Moses and Muhammad and Gabriel. And if this refers to the revealed expression here, then what does it mean to say that it is heard? It means that we hear revealed expressions that are recited and they refer to the uncreated speech. So those revealed expressions that we hear recited refer to the uncreated speech, and we say His speech is heard. We hear His speech, which is the recitation of the revealed expressions that are created. And what does it mean to say His speech is written? It means there are created characters, written characters, shapes, drawn. These drawn shapes, scripted shapes, refer to something that's not created. And that's what it means when we say His speech is written. And وَمَحْفُوظ, and it's memorized. This means that in our hearts, we envision the revealed expression that we have memorized, like Al-Fatiha, Ayatul Kursi, Al-Mu'awwidhat, Suratul Kafirun, and other ayat of the Quran, maybe the entire Quran. We envision those revealed expressions that we memorize, and those revealed expressions refer to the uncreated speech. So then one might say, uh, it is said the speech of Allah is memorized, and it means what I just told you. And recited, the speech of Allah is recited. It means there are revealed expressions pronounced by slaves of Allah, and these revealed expressions that they pronounce refer to the uncreated speech of Allah. And therefore, we would say the speech of Allah is recited. And Ibn Khafeef, he adds a word here that's not in the other creedal texts that we have studied together. He said, وَمَدْرُوث, and it is studied. Yes, the slaves of Allah, they study the interpretation of the Quran, and they study the phonetics of the Quran. The phonetics, meaning the tajweed. They study the Quran in interpretation and phonetics and also other aspects of the Quran. Any question here? Then the author, may Allah have mercy upon him, started to discuss the mutashabih attributes, or what also might be called as-sifatul khabariyah. As-sifatul khabariyah. This means the attributes that whose reference is limited to revelation only. Those attributes whose reference is revelation only. There is no way to think and then know those attributes. So what did he say? وَيَعْتَقِدُ أَنَّهُ عَلَى عَرْشِهِ اسْتَوَى. And the intelligent, meticulous, perfectionist, who is knowledgeable, this Muslim, he believes, he has the conviction that Allah ala arshihi istawa, over his arsh he istawa. So we're not going to say he rose over his arsh, he rose. But it is possible to say, if we wanted to commit to a translation here, it is possible to say he overcame his arsh. He overcame it. Not came over it with the meaning of rose over it. Rather, he overcame it with the meaning of he subjugated it and dominated it. Not with the meaning of a struggle also. He overcame it without a struggle. But I'm not committing to a translation here. I would rather just say istawa. Then, according to just saying istawa without a translation means we're not committing to an interpretation here. For the istiwa, then what we are doing, like we already said, now we are at the very least confirming the word. Because, like we said, it came in the Quran, it's confirmed in the Quran. This word istawa, anyone who denies it as Allah's attribute is a kafir if he knows that it's in the Quran. What does it mean though? That's another thing. Is it a condition to interpret it? It's not. When the people of old did not ask about istiwa, and they said, we believe that istawa ala arshihi, or ala arshihi istawa, we believe in that. When they said it like that, this doesn't mean they believed in the literal or apparent meaning. It means at the very least that they believe in the words that came in the Quran. And yeah, that's the least that it means. When they say, we believe that Allah istawa ala arshihi, He has istiwa over the arsh or over His arsh. This doesn't mean they are taking it literally. Like a Wahhabi will say to you, look, he said istawa ala arshihi. He didn't say uh, something else. So don't say He didn't rise over. He's the one saying something else. Like, for example, a Wahhabi will say to you, show me an ayah that says Allah exists without a place. He cannot. We say to him, show me an ayah that says Allah exists in a place. You cannot. So if he says, what? Allah said, Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa. We're going to say, what? Allah said, Laysa kamithlihi shay. Nothing is like Him. And if he says, but that doesn't mean Allah is not in a place, we're going to say to him, istawa doesn't mean Allah is in a place. See his double standard, and he can't see himself. He's so unfair, he can't see himself. This is the case of people, though, of different religions. They think that they don't have to be fair. They say, well, we have the right religion, so according to them, they think they have the right religion. So they would say, so it's just whatever we say goes, doesn't matter. Fair or not fair, it's fair, because that's what we say. That's like how is the mind of a Wahhabi. As opposed to the Sunni and the Sunni scholars, they were actually objective. They literally would, they would be fair, and they would not have double standard like what I just described to you. This double standard basically means contradicting oneself, imposing a method on someone, but that method doesn't apply to you yourself. As they say, rules for thee, not for me. These rules are for you, not for me. These rules that I impose on you, those are for you, not for me. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. So here, there's no committing to a particular interpretation for istiwa. His arsh is the ceiling of paradise, the largest creation ever created. Istawa is a past tense verb. The present tense is yastawi. Istawa, yastawi. And the source noun is istiwa. Al-istiwa. That's the attribute. Allah has an attribute called istiwa. What does it mean? We don't have to commit to a particular interpretation. Until now, I didn't commit to anything in all what I'm explaining. I'm delaying. I'm on the verge of procrastinating here. But I'm not procrastinating. I still just didn't get to it. But that's how much really you don't have to commit to an interpretation. You have to believe in it because it's in the Quran, and the least is that you say whatever it means is befitting. Why am I avoiding committing to some interpretation or translation here? Because this word istiwa, it has over 10 meanings in the Arabic language, and not all of those meanings befit Allah. Like it has the meaning jalasa, he sat, that doesn't work. It has the meaning i'tadala, he straightened up, that doesn't work. It has the meaning nalblija, he became ripe or mature, that doesn't work. But it does have the meaning of qahara, he subjugated, he dominated, he conquered, that works. And it has the meaning of hafizah, he preserved, that works. So what does it mean? Allah knows what it means. Why was it revealed in the Quran like that? By Allah's wisdom, as a test for His slaves. These verses will expose those who have the tendency to clear their Lord from resemblance and expose those who have the tendency to compare their Lord to something else. Those who have paganistic tendencies, these verses bring out their tendencies when they take them literally and interpret them with physical connotations. So, according to those who have paganistic inclinations, ala arshi istawa means he rose over his throne. He was under it and then he came over it. And some of them believe he mounted it. And some of them believe he sat upon it, which is the same as saying he mounted it or close. And some of them say, no, he didn't sit on it, he sat over it. And some of them say, no, he didn't sit. We don't say he sits. We just say he is over it only. Just say he's over his arsh. But they mean physically, and they might point to it. They say, you wonder why I'm pointing up? Like Yani Dawood Adib did in one of his lectures. He's saying, you're wondering why I'm pointing up the whole time. And I didn't even see the lecture. I heard the lecture on an audio tape. We don't even use audio tapes anymore. Yani, in America. Yani, it's obsolete. Back when we were still using audio tapes, so he said by voice, you're wondering why I'm pointing up. I'm always pointing up. Ah, that one, he knows why I'm pointing up. So the one who has the paganistic tendencies, these ayat going to bring out his paganism. He's going to say Allah was under the arsh, rose over the arsh, has two hands, his arms are stretched out, he has fingers, he will crumple up the sky in his hands like he balls up a piece of paper, and he has smile and all of that they say. His shin and foot, he will put his foot in hell, and he will uncover his shin, and then the believers will prostrate, and the kuffar won't be able to prostrate, and they are dead serious about these things. And they will describe him with all physical qualities, but they'll turn around and say, now don't try to imagine this. They're going to tell you something completely imaginable and then tell you, you can't imagine, don't try to imagine. As opposed to the basic creed, it's not imaginable. It's not imaginable. You cannot imagine it. When I first started learning 13 attributes and one of the brothers was teaching me, he told me, you cannot imagine what I'm going to tell you. I was still new. So I was saying to myself, well, let's see. Yani, say something to me. We're going to see if I can imagine what you say. That's what I was saying in my own self. Since he told me I won't be able to imagine what he's saying. So he was talking. He started. He said, Allah, He exists without beginning. He is not like the creations. He's not a body or shape or form or color. And He doesn't need anything. And He has no partner. And He is independent. And He's alive without a body or soul. And He hears without ears. And He sees without eyes. And He speaks without language, without sounds, without letters. So he's telling me he's flowing, talking. Then he looked at me. He said, brother, you can't imagine what I'm saying to you. As if he could read my face, seeing I'm trying to see if he is contradicting himself or not. So then when he reaffirmed that, I said, yeah, that's true. I was unable to imagine anything you said. On the other hand, Wahhabi's going to say Allah has two eyes, and He has a smile, and He has a real face, and He has two hands, outstretched hands, and He has fingers, and He crumbles the skies in His hands, and He has a shin and a foot, and He puts His foot in hellfire, and He uncovers His shin on Judgment Day, and He rises over His throne, and He descends down to the lowest heaven in the last third of the night. But don't imagine it. You can't imagine it. All is completely imaginable. But let's stop here, and inshallah, next time we can pick up from here, where the author starts talking about the mutashabi attributes, or as-sifatul khabariyah, as they are called also. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.